Right, back at Waltham Cruise Motorcycles, obviously in Waltham Cruise, and I've tried my bike in for a service because it has done 1 year, which I'm really happy with because the bike is absolutely a beast. I'm talking about my GSX-1000. But today, when I dropped it in, they were like, oh, we've got this if you want to take it for a spin. I was like, I've been waiting for this bike for the last 4, 5, 6 months, I think, because I think this is the bike that will, and surely, will be the best competitor for the MT07. And I'll walk you through it. But first, let's take it out for a spin. Wait, this is so flickable, I can't believe it. So tiny, so small compared to my GSX-1000. But I think this is made by purpose, because this bike is made for the city. And why? Well, put it this way. Start with a price tag, which is £8,000 for a standard one, which will put it exactly bang on in the middle with the other bikes to its category, especially with the MT07. And the slick body, the slick tank, makes it easier for you to filter through the traffic. And to make your life easier, this bike comes standard with all the new technology that my bike has. Yeah, so we got quick shift up and down. We've got a 5-inch TFT display, and it's better than mine, because mine you can't really see it, but this one is great. I can see every single bit on it. Position is standard, a bit upright, but it's a small bike for me, so I can't lean forward that much. And it feels great. Going through the city, blah blah blah, little bit of traffic. There's some gap here. There you go. Let's talk about this engine, yeah? So it's a parallel twin, 776cc, 82 horses, 78 foot-pounds of torque, which is fairly similar to the MT07. That's what I'm saying, I'm going to compare them two up. The one thing they've done to this engine, the crankshaft is 270 degrees, so it's going to have that cross-plane like exhaust sound, and the engine sound actually. Plus they fitted 2 rods that will make this bike not have as much vibration as you think, and that's the first thing you would feel when you're comparing to the MT07. Yeah, quick shifter works perfectly. It seems a bit jerky when you do like low revs, but nothing major. And he's got that low grunt. He's got all the power on the low RPMs, like, well, most 2-cylinder would. Well, it does go. It does go. So far, I'm liking this bike. I'm genuinely thinking that Suzuki made a good bike with this. It feels comfortable, as it should be. It feels, I don't know, it's just that kind of bike that you get on it and you feel like, yeah, everything's normal, that you can actually feel like, oh, it just feels like you've rode this bike before. It's just one of them bikes that people will instantly feel comfortable with it. It's so smooth. And one thing I've noticed again, front suspension is, you ain't got no adjustability for the front suspension, but this feels a lot more stable. On the MT07 for that matter, when you're going on a bend, you feel like it washes out. This one feels slightly more sportier, and I can feel it because my GSX-1000 has got a hard suspension. This is how this is set up as well. So transforming to better handling, and we'll see, and we shall see. Mirrors, I'd say they're standard. I mean, Suzuki is using the same handlebars and grips and even the buttons from the other models, which is there to save cost, but everyone does that. But the mirrors, I don't mind it because I can see over my shoulders, left and right, and they're not sticking out too far away. So yeah, there's nothing bad about them. And when you're buying a naked bike, most likely you are going to commute a lot, and you will need good vision, especially in London, in the London traffic. Obviously, being a naked bike, the wind just comes over to my chest, so I'm not surprised in the next few weeks, few months, there will be some manufacturers going to create a windscreen for this bike. As I was saying earlier, it comes with the new technology, so obviously it would come with Suzuki's traction control, which on this one is got off, 1, 2 and 3. It all depends on how much intrusive you want the traction control to be to you. And it's got riding modes, which is new for them, for this bike especially. So you got A, which is a sporty riding mode. You got B, which is like a touring mode, and C, which is a rain mode. They're not going to cut off on power. What it's going to do is going to give it a bit more lag when you're pulling on the throttle. So now you got instant response. If you put it on B mode, it's going to be like cruising with your mates and just following the traffic, and it's there. And in rain mode, obviously you want to be a bit more safe. You don't want to jerkiness of the throttle and to put you off, might skid off or something. I like this dash, and it's got a special feature as well. So when you go into a tunnel, it gets dark outside, it switches to night mode automatically. It's got a sensor incorporated into it that will help him do that. I like the power delivery. It seems a bit linear, but then that's what it should be. I don't know how they've done it, because well, MT07 feels like a more hooligan bike than this, just because of the jerkiness of the throttle. And this one, by the way, is ride by wire. Who's this bike made for? What I think is there's a category of people, they get an A license, a full bike license, and they want to get a decent bike. And whilst they've gone from, I don't know, a 125 or from an A2 license, more bike license, and they're looking to get something not overpowered but not underpowered as their first big bike. And there's another category of people that would want this bike. So I'm 6'2". This for me feels like a 125, I'm not gonna lie. But if you're 5'5", 5'6", I'd say you can flat foot both feet on this bike. And you know how hard that is, because there are people that are too tall and they can't really get on a bike like this because, well, it's not gonna fit them, like I was saying earlier about me. So they're gonna go for something else, like a DL800 or something bigger. But the most concerning is the shorter persons who want to ride big bikes, bigger engines, but they can't find many around, because the MT07 is high above the ground. So you might be looking into buying this bike. I would really recommend test riding the bike first. It feels it feels amazing. For 2-cylinder, I can't feel much vibration. Into my pegs, I can't feel nothing actually. I can feel some, obviously, into the handlebars, but it's not excessive because of the 2 push rods that they fitted to the engine. I don't know how they realized that. They've done really well. Right, now let me show you what £8 can buy from Suzuki. So you get a brand new bike, a brand new engine, you get 3 years warranty, and you get this little beauty, which you just saw that it does everything you wanted from a bike. So, I mean, it's got upside down forks, which compared to the MT07, which they don't, haha. And they've done a good job. I've been around the corners and they perform really, really well. And I was not surprised because Suzuki tend to make sportier bikes than other manufacturers. Doesn't matter what class it is, they're gonna try to push it a bit more. You got the Nissan brakes on the front, you got Nissan brakes on the back. One thing I don't really fancy is them indicators at the front and the back. It looks like something taken from the 2012, but there's an option for LED ones. I like the new TFT display. It's lovely. It's got all the information in your size so you can see everything. I like the mirrors. You can't stand up with the Dunlop Sport Max 2 tires, and they felt grippy. They felt quite grippy actually. I like it. You've got this small exhaust here, so this ain't gonna be the bike that you're gonna want to put a, I don't know, aftermarket exhaust on, because as you can see, the outlet is bolted to the actual cat, so it's gonna have to be a D-cat or nothing. But it sounds amazing. The 2 cylinders, 270 degree angle crankshaft create a really nice sound. I mean, it depends now. I prefer to have a tail tidy on this one. You might prefer have it out there because you're riding in the rain and that's going to protect you from, you know, all the debris from by the rear wheel. So what do you say? Is it worth it? I think it does. For £8 you can't get too many bikes these days, not especially when you got quick shifter up and down. You've got all the traction control modes, the driving modes. When I said this is a bike that is made to replace the SV, is because looking at it, you see all this gap here between the front wheel and the headers, which made me think about the SV straight away. But I reckon they're not going to stop here, because the SV was made into a naked bike. You could have had a faired one, and you could have had a cafe racer look like bike. So I'm not surprised, because as Yamaha done, they slapped some fairings on it and they call the R7. So I'm not surprised they're gonna fair this bike up and just transform it into something sportier to go out on a bike and look nicer, especially when they're not making the jigsaw anymore. So what do you think? Leave a comment and I'll make sure I'm gonna reply to it. Another small adjustment for this bike is the fuel tank, which is only 14 liters. So this bike is 202 kilos, which is a whopping 15-16 kilos heavier than an MT07, but you wouldn't feel it. You would not feel that weight. This bike compared to the MT07, it doesn't have that hooligan bike feel. I mean, it might be similar in the engine size and power output, but it's just, it doesn't give you that vibe for some reason. If I'll be on the MT07 now, I'd be more than happy to pop a couple of wheelies now here and then. It's just, yeah, it just doesn't give you that same vibe. Maybe this is a grown-up bike. Ha! Take that, Yamaha. It's definitely neatly, this bike, I like it. To be fair, I wouldn't take this bike to a track. I would definitely move through the city so much quicker than most bikes these days. It's just because the handling is so good and it's so responsive. and it's got a quick acceleration, so you quickly gonna go through the traffic in front of everything, so you don't have to stay behind as much. I'm not saying other bikes can't do it, it just, this feels like it's made for that reason. That's why I think Suzuki never said, you know what, I'm not gonna bother putting a big windscreen here, because they can always get a different bike, because we got different bikes, bigger bikes and all that. But yeah, if you want a cheaper bike to commute in, and I think it's gonna be really good on fuel. This bike has been on a test ride before I did, and it's still got a full tank, and I've done a few miles myself, so yeah. And don't imagine on a test ride someone would say, oh, I'm gonna raise it sensitive because you know, I don't want to spend any fuel on it. Nah. Yep, good brakes, like it. I don't think there's a need for brake brakes on this baby. It's just, it ain't gonna have that much of a speed. I'm not saying brake one, I would prefer having some brake as well. And speed this bike wise, it's not a problem. So as you can see, the road surface is not the greatest, yeah. I can feel everything on the road. I mean, it gives you the feedback through the wheel, through the suspension, gives it to the rider. So on an MT07, it's a bit harder, it's a bit tricky, because it's always soft. The suspension is set up so soft, and sometimes you can't really feel it. You can't really feel the nature of the road, and yeah, I'd say I prefer this one for now at least. Now at the end of this video, I want to thank you for watching, and I would appreciate you leaving a comment and let me know what do you think. Is this a better bike or worse bike than Yamaha MT07? Is this even comparable to MT07? Would you have this bike? Would you test ride this bike, and would you buy it? Just leave a comment. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.